Insider news. We talk about last week's race at Dover, and we got some good guests coming on tonight. We got Jack Dodson, Scott Allen,
The legend, Scott
the
Allen.
legend.
The Florence Flash.
Hey, we're gonna get that straight. We had 12 carts in the race the other week.
Danny Millard. Danny Millard told me there wasn't before. He said the secret was safe.
Well, you and I both know you can't believe anything Danny Mallard says.
Millard, whatever
Millard, whatever it is.
Millard, Millard.
We just
Mallard
call him
didn't-
dumbass. Danny.
Isn't Mallard a duck?
So yeah, we'll talk about the race. We got some good guests tonight. First, we're gonna have Matt Ashworth from Saluda. Races up there and does some marina racing. Or not does it, works on some marina race cars. Eddie Pardue from Langley Speedway. Originally is where he started from. He's from Hampton. And now as a crew chief at TriStar.
TriStar Motorsports.
Is he still on the 24?
No, he's on the 14 now, I think.
So he's on the 14 in the Xfinity series. Then we got David Reutimann, which has a pretty cool story. Was kind of actually a little late in age to get a ride in a truck series from Darrell Waltrip.
Mm-hmm.
Clayton says hi.
I don't know Clayton.
Won a couple of races in the Cup Series. I mean, I think he's won. And I know he won in the trucks. I don't know if he won an Xfinity race,
I don't think he won an Xfinity race.
but won the 600 or the 500.
He won the 500.
No,
it was a rain shortened 600 is what he won. Yeah, that's what it was.
And then last but not least, we're going to have Joe Huss,
The legend.
Jack's hero.
My hero, the legend. Before we get started, let's tell you who all won some races this weekend around the area. At South Boston Speedway, the late model winner was Danny Willis Jr. The local people for the local Langley drivers that were there, Mark Wirtz finished 4th. Justin Carroll 9th. Alex Brock 16th. Macy Causey 20th. Matty Ryan 24th. Terry Carroll 25th. And CE finished dead last, 26th.
Oh, what happened to CE?
Had a motor problem, from what I understand. Over at South Boston Speedway, Chris Dodson won his second race of the season. Well, second straight race, third race of the season, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
At East Carolina Motor Speedway, Butterbean got his second win.
Got a second win with his older car that they just got back.
And Lewis White won the second of the 235 lap late model races. At Kingsport, Zeke Shell and Cress Van Dyke won the 2 races over there. Motor Mile, Lee Pulliam won again. I think that's the 3rd time he's won at Motor Mile. So whatever's biting him at South Boston, it ain't affected him up at Motor Mile, that's for sure.
Yeah, he's struggling at South Boston.
Bowman Gray, our buddy Chris Fleming, won
The showstopper.
The showstopper won the race at Bowman Gray in the modifieds. His first race win since 2014. So that's a pretty big deal for him.
Mm-hmm.
At the Las Vegas Bull Ring, the NASCAR Next young gun Noah Gragson won the big race. They had a lot of guys out there for that race. Grayson Raz, Natalie Decker, all of them were out there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. At Dominion, it's listed as Doug Barnes Jr. won, but we'll have to check and make sure that's exactly what happened because things change on the dime over there. And that's all I'm going to say about that. At Clary's, the dirt track down near Roanoke Rapids, North Carolina, Hunter Bailey and Willie Milliken won. Hunter Bailey won Friday night. Willie Milliken won Saturday night in the late models. And I believe that is the first time in a long time I didn't say Buddy Isles Jr. won the race.
So you are right this time for once.
Buddy Isles Jr. has won every race down until this weekend.
Dang.
And then he had some motor problems this weekend.
So there's the reason.
Yeah. And the NASCAR Next program put out their drivers, the list of drivers who was going to represent NASCAR Next. Harrison Burton, Colin Cabray, Spencer Davis, Alon Day. Now he is a Wheeling Euro driver.
Okay.
Tyler Dipple, Todd Gilliland, Noah Gragson, who won at Las Vegas and runs on the the K&N West. Gary Klutt runs the Canadian NASCAR series. Julia Landauer, who we've had on the show, she's one of them.
That's the Survivor.
Survivor. She was on Survivor. Ty Majeski is in the NASCAR Next program, but now he is also signed with Roush Fenway, as one of their developmental drivers. And Matt Tift, the Joe Gibbs racing driver. And then at Dover, Matt Crafton won the truck race. When he got out front, he was determined he was going to win that race, one way or the other. Man, that Xfinity race was pretty good. Eric Jones ended up winning the race. And then the Demolition Derby, that was the Cup race, turned out...
That was a good race, though.
Matt Kenseth won the race, and yes, Clayton, you won the pool. Okay, we got you.
So it feels good to be tied for the lead with this.
I'm still trying to figure out how we all have 4 wins, because I don't think there's been 12 races.
I don't know. I'd have to count. Clayton might be trying to sneak one in on us.
I'm trying to figure. Well, I ain't gonna say nothing. I'm gonna let Clayton have his moment of fun. So you're tied with us all now, Clayton. So we'll see what happens.
But I tell you, though, the last quarter of the race yesterday or Sunday, if I was the 42, I'd have roughed Matt up a little bit. Reese has 1 win. Reese? Who's Reese? Did he have a win? I don't remember.
Yeah, he won 1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he won 1.
So are you getting his by default, Clayton? But he was a little nicer than I would have been for your first win. But that was fun to watch them race each other clean. And I tell you, I don't think if they'd have kept racing, it wouldn't have been another lap. But it'd have been a 3-way race for the win there, because you got Chase was coming.
You got to think about the way Kyle Larson. He didn't run over him. He didn't create a problem, and he could very well have knocked him out of the way. I think he gained a lot of respect along the lines because they say, well, hey, at least he ran us clean.
Yeah, but nobody would have been mad at him. Clayton said he won Richmond, Bristol, Kansas, and Dover.
I didn't ask. I didn't ask.
He's clarifying his wins. Sean says maybe iRacing will be less terrifying with I can't say his last name, Majesty, whatever. In that development program, you race with him in that, Sean?
That's pretty cool. But anyway, it was a good race. I enjoyed it. Matt Kenseth, he wins the race.
Well, he was due to win one.
Chase,
he hasn't quite been there.
Chase, once everybody started crashing, Chase worked his way up there, and he was eating him up for the win. He could have been right there for the win.
Yeah. I agree with Sean. Sean said that was one of the best Dover races in a long time. And Dover has been a little boring at times. I mean, it's just...
Well, yeah, it gets, they say, because it used to be 500 miles, now it's 400. They cut that back because they said it was boring. I think the way these cars are now, the boring is gone. I mean, because I think...
Well, I definitely... I see that they're going to try, in the All-Star race, they're trying some less side force. I mean, these cars are going to be wicked to drive.
I think that's what they want. I think the drivers want it that way, too. They want
I totally agree.
So we'll see what... We'll see what happens with that when time comes.
Yeah, I think making it harder for them to drive has made racing better.
Yeah,
because anybody, I mean, the way those things had so much downforce, anybody could drive them.
The truck race was good. I mean, they battled back and forth in the truck race.
And trucks always have been good.
Yeah, and that was a good race. The Xfinity race, it had its moments, but I mean, it was decent racing in the Xfinity race. But what in the world is he talking about?
So he's having problems with his Wi-Fi.
Oh,
Storm blew by. He got all messed up.
oh well,
He's off and on.
I'm sorry, there, Clayton. We'll tell you what happens when it's over.
If you really want or not.
You better go on and you better go on and tell us who your pick is for this. Well, no, you're last, so you. So that'll make no difference. You're last to pick this week.
Right.
I'm first. I'm first this week. I finished my driver finished 30th.
You finished 30th. You were last.
Well, yeah, but out of the three of us, yeah. Gary's finished 5th and Mark finished 9th. Too bad we're not counting them. But so anyway, got a good show. Good things going on. What's going on with you? Anything big with you? We're going to Charlotte.
We're going to Charlotte next week. We're going to go up Friday morning, stay for the weekend. You get to spend the weekend with me.
Well, there's always a drawback to everything.
Well, the good news is my truck ain't running right, so then we ain't gonna be able to take the camper. So you'll be comfortable.
Praise the Lord. I don't have to worry about being cold
or falling out of the bed.
It's raining outside. Hey, Clayton, it's raining here too.
Clayton says he's got a question. What happened in the Xfinity if more than one driver wins the same car, being points don't matter? Wait a minute. Man, we got all kinds of people going now. What's up, Jason? What happens on the Xfinity if more than one driver wins in the same car, being points don't matter, just wins? I don't know how.
That's exactly what it is. It don't really matter.
Yeah, I mean, the car gets car owner points, and that still has its championship, even though the driver in it is not in a championship.
And prior to the whole thing starting, you have to tell them whether you're going to run for Xfinity points or Cup points or whatever, or if you're a part-time driver, you're not a part of that too.
Jason said, a little off subject. It's not off subject, Jason. What do we think about the whole Earnhardt lawsuit stuff? I seen that Kerry was willing to negotiate or talk with Teresa, but Teresa is not looking at that. She wants to go full on. I think it's completely ridiculous. I mean, I think you should.
I don't understand why she is so hell bent and determined to. I mean, it's a birthright for Kerry and Dale and Kelly to have the Earnhardt name.
Did you see the tweet? I seen the owner of the 32 Cup car. I can't think of his name off the top of my head. He posted a picture and it had Junior and Kerry's boy Jeffrey sitting at driver introduction, and it said, "Can we keep our names on our suit, or are we going to get a lawsuit over that, or something along those effects?" I think it's just completely ridiculous. I think it's overreaching. I think you have enough resources and enough stuff. It's no way mixing it up. It has nothing to do with motorsports. He's using his last name to build a company, and that's what anybody would do. So I just think it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't think it. I think that's crazy to tell somebody they can't do anything with the Earnhardt name because their name is Earnhardt.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
I mean, how much money is?
And she also has a daughter, Taylor, that is also an Earnhardt.
Mm-hmm.
So
that horse races.
Yeah. So is she not going to be able to use the Earnhardt name to?
I'm sure she'll get granted privileges.
Well, I think they all should be granted. If your name's Earnhardt, you need to go by the Earnhardt name.
Yeah, it blows. I think it blows everybody's mind, to be honest, Jason.
Call from 8049.
Good evening and welcome to Jack Dodson's Racing Insider News with Scott Allen. Is this Matt?
Yes, sir, it is. How are you?
How you doing tonight, Matt?
Oh man, I'm doing great. This rain's getting on me a little bit, but praying for sunshine coming up soon. How y'all doing?
We're doing great. So, are you about ready to go racing again? Because it seems like y'all having a lot of rain over your way.
Yeah.
Man, we're more ready than ever. The car's been ready to go. It's coming off a win and starting the season out right. Got a lot of support, and man, we're ready to hit the track. We're thinking about going up to Clary's and kicking the dust up a little bit. Just ruffling the feathers up, make sure she's right, and just like you said, we want to get back to the track. Want to do it as much as possible.
So Matt, how did you get started? How did you get started into racing?
My dad really got me into it. He's been racing since before I was born. He started out on wet track at Saluda, and then he went to the asphalt at Southside and won a lot of races out there. And man, I just fell in love with it. And he got me a champ card, and we ran a little bit of dirt tracking on the champ card, and I really fell in love with it then, and finally got a full-size car for Southside Speedway, and then ended up going to the dirt. And I'll be honest with you, there's no other racing like the dirt track at Virginia Motor Speedway. It's one of the best facilities I've ever been to, and we're going to keep going back and supporting them as long as they stay afloat for sure, and they'll be there for a long time.
Well, that's cool because now who is your dad? Is your dad Ray Ashworth?
Yes, sir. My dad's Ray Ashworth. Number 10 car. He ran. He had Diamond Springs was his primary sponsor back in the day.
Right, and then didn't he run a couple times down at Southampton too?
Yes, sir. He ran out of Southampton too. He won a couple races out there, which is a great track. I guess coming back around too. But we spent most of our time at Southside Speedway, the toughest track in the South, and man, we love that place. And my dream is to take a late model around that place, one time for sure. But he's definitely the reason for the sickness that I got, and that's racing.
You got that right as being a sickness. If I had a nickel for every dollar I spent, I'd have had a little bit of money.
You ain't lying, man. We've really made it. We've made it happen with just us, and we've got some very good sponsors aboard now, an insurance doctor and M.W. Butler Electrical, Manipulate Truck and Machinery, jumped on, and they've really taken care of us and made sure that we show up to the track with a piece that can win, and they love it, man. They love it.
I like how he just slid the sponsor right in there. We didn't even have to remind him.
He's good. That's pretty cool. Now,
hey, you gotta look out for the people that look out for you.
You're exactly right.
That's right.
We know that, and of course, Scott still does some racing, and he has to look out for his sponsors. And
Hey,
I see you still racing the champ cars, man. That's some of the most fun racing I've ever done. Is that wing champ down at Southside? It's like a Daytona and a champ car.
yeah, it is pretty crazy. We were down at I forgot where Florence.
They were at Florence, South Carolina. They had four cars, and Scott finished fourth.
Hey, at least you finished. If you took the ticket, that's the goal. It's one of our favorite goals. We got to finish the race before we do anything.
That's right. Don't listen to him. Hey, Matt's seen my driving. He knows I can drive.
Now, Matt.
Oh yeah, hey, we've ran against each other out there in the arena track.
Oh my goodness, Matt! I had respect for you till you said that.
Hey, I gotta hand it to those arena car drivers. That's some of the hardest racing there is to do, and my little teammate Chase Butler, he's representing M.W. Butler Electrical out there in the arena racing, and he's actually picked up a sportsman ride. He's going to be my teammate at the dirt track as well. So
That's cool.
We're actually going to take him down to Clay's and let him spin a couple laps and get used to a big car, and we're looking forward to seeing what he's got to offer.
Now, when are you going to Clary's?
We're gonna try to hit that double down race coming up. I believe it's the 4th and the 5th. Buddy House Senior gave us an invite to come out there, and I've been out there in the modified before, and I love the place. The Ring of Fire is just it's no other track like it. So it's a short little bull ring. You've been out there 100 times, so you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
but it is definitely fun.
Yeah, I was down there. When they were getting ready to open it up this year. I was down there with Buddy and Joe Huss, who's going to be on the show in a little while. I was down there hanging out with them, and it is a nice track. It is really nice.
Yes, sir, it is. It's old, and it's really where racing came from, is what I say. You come out there and you see where, racing really originated, and it's great that they have a good show and a good, good loyal fan base that comes out there, and we look forward to going out there for sure.
Now, you said you did the arena racing with Scott. Now, here's the question I got to ask. Did you beat him?
No.
Wait a minute. Well, wait a minute.
He had his stuff together. I think we rubbed door panels a couple times. We'd have to go back to the stats and check and see where we finished. But
Matt,
I might have got him once or twice.
Matt, I would have said yes no matter what because.
Hey, I gotta respect him. He's a good dude. I like Scott. I really appreciate y'all having me out, and I'll be watching the show and keeping up with y'all, man. Arena racing, it's a different kind of racing. I'm just getting used to it. Ryan Burroughs at After Hours that sets up our race cars, got to give him a big shout out. He's actually taught me a lot on arena cars, and I really like getting them fast and watching other people race them opposed to me jumping in there. I'm a little too big for them things.
Yeah. Well, both of those are a little too big for him, but it is a completely different. That's what I tell most people that want to get into it. I'm like, dude, it's completely different than anything you'll ever get into.
Yeah, well, what we call it is it's a different animal. That's what we call it. It's a different animal. It's just like you said, everything's different completely. But we got a pretty good hold on it with Chase's car. He's moving up to the adult class next year.
Oh, cool.
So I think, man, I like the arena thing. I wish it would grow. I wish we'd have a lot more cars out there.
Yeah.
During the wintertime, us racers get really bored.
So tell us a little bit about up there at Virginia Motor Speedway. How the car counts and everything up there with you guys up there?
Honestly, Virginia Motor Speedway is literally the best track I've ever been to in my entire life. As far as facility, next to none. It's pretty. What I like to say is it's a Richmond International Raceway of dirt. It's beautiful. I love going there. We look forward to it all week during the race week. Just the ride down there and getting there is worth it. But the car count's great. We'd like to have more. Of course, we'd like to have 40 sportsman cars out there. The more, the merrier. But it's an affordable way to go racing. The fans love it. You get down there at a reasonable time, and the track personnel treat you good. They don't shy away cars that come from other tracks. They make it work. So I give them an A+, and we won't be racing anywhere else for a while. We're dirt racers, to the bone. That's all there is to it.
So what's your schedule this year? So you just mainly going to be racing there?
Yeah, we're going to be racing for a championship in the sportsman division.
Okay.
Irving Cook races out at Dominion Speedway. He's got the 89 late model. He's actually offered me a test session out there Memorial Day weekend.
Well, that's
the
pretty
next
cool.
Saturday. So I'll be driving a late model out there for the first time, and I'm really looking forward to that because, like I said, watching my dad do it for 25 years, and that was just a big dream of mine to do it on the asphalt. But really, we took what we have and made it into something. We're a little backyard team that got a little garage, and it feels good to go out there and be able to win at a high quality track like that with a bunch of good competitors and not come from a whole lot. But
yeah, is that are you in the same class with Testerman?
No.
No, he's in the crate late models. He's actually the highest class out there, which I love me some Camden Testament, man. He's top notch. He's probably one of my favorite drivers he is probably one of the favorite adult drivers in the Arena League. I got utmost respect for him and his family, his dad and his mom, and congratulations to him on his championship this year. Definitely most well earned for a little kid to go out there, a 17-year-old kid to go out there and run with them is very, very impressive. So.
Yeah, he is a good kid. I like giving him a hard time. He gives me a hard time too.
Yeah, He's definitely a good kid. He's a wheelman. He's everything. I've watched him since he was in champ carts, man. Everything he gets in, he can wheel it right to the front. So I got a lot of faith in him for sure.
So how did this late model test come about?
Really, we just were talking, and I helped him out a couple times at the track, and he asked me if I wanted to try it out, and I said, man, I'd be honored. It's a facility like Dominion, a late model stock car. I mean, it's a dream come true. Even if I go out there and get to spin, 25 laps, and that's it. That'll be 25 laps I haven't gotten. So.
Yeah, I mean that's got to be a pretty cool opportunity, and it says a lot about you too, Matt.
Yeah, it's a big deal, man, and I really give the utmost respect to Irving, and I really want him to know that he's giving me a shot at my dream of driving a NASCAR late model, and it's a big deal in my life, and this racing deal is my life. I wake up every morning and think about racing, and that's just what I do.
So is it going to be like a day just to test, or are you going up there for a race and then just going to practice the car some during the day?
Well, we're going to test and we're going to go from there. He's talking about possibly racing it, but we're just going to go out there and feel it out and do a couple things to the car and really try to get a handle on how everything works. And it's a beginning deal. It's not a set in stone deal yet. He's told me I can test it, but I'd love to go out there and race and see what I have against those guys on the asphalt. I know it's a different deal. It's a different style. It's more of a board game than going out there and mashing it to the floor and turning left and coming off sideways. But
right, yeah.
I'm looking forward to it, man. I think it's going to be a good opportunity for me to get to see what it has to offer, and maybe down the road we might end up driving an asphalt car. But
yeah, you never know. I mean, you got to take the opportunities when they come like that.
Definitely, and I'll race anything. Anybody can ask you. I'll race a tricycle if that's what we're racing.
Well, I'll tell you what, after you do your test out there with them, we're going to get you back on here and you give us an update on how everything went and tell us how things are going. We'd love to have you back.
Yes, sir. I'd love to be back on the show for sure, and I really appreciate y'all having me. And man, I definitely look forward to talking to y'all again. I'd like to give a shout out real quick one more time to MW Butler Electric, Matt Bernard Truck and Machinery, Insurance Doctor, HDRICA, All Tune and Lube, and a big shout out also to After Hours Race Cars and Ryan Burrow with the awesome setups, awesome chassis. If you're looking for speed, go there. And you guys have an awesome night, and I will talk to y'all soon.
All right, well, we're going to get you back on real soon, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
All right, talk to you later. Appreciate it, man.
All right, thanks, Scott. Thanks, Jack. Bye-bye.
Bye. No, Danny, I'm not going to tell anybody about taking outside on dirt.
He was excited about being on the show and everything.
He's a nice guy,
and I really, it's good to see that he loves the dirt. I mean,
oh yeah. Apparently,
he and I had talked one time. And he said, you need to do more dirt. Okay, I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah,
I
didn't realize that was his dad though.
Well, I kind of figured it was, but I wasn't positive that's who it was. But
you ain't positive on a lot of stuff.
I not really don't because I don't like to be.
You don't like to be wrong.
I don't like to be wrong. It's like when we were sitting in that restaurant down there at Martinsville, and my cousin came in. At first I wasn't sure who he was.
Yeah, he didn't know who you were either, or he wasn't sure who you were.
But he did when he come up and I told him who I was. He said I was right.
He said, "You sure are." I still laugh about that. He said, "I'm Jack." He said, "You sure are."
You can't get. You can't get any better than that. I knew it was my cousin.
All right, so next we got Eddie Pardue.
And now, Danny, is your last name Millard or Mallard?
I think it's Millard.
Because I thought a mallard.
It depends on who you ask.
I thought a mallard was a duck.
No, I bet he'd float like a duck, though. He'd definitely float, because I know what else floats.
Oh, well, let's see now. Eddie Pardue's supposed to give us a call. I got his number in case he don't.
This is my lord.
No, I don't think that's it.
Are you calling him? Or?
I'm going to go ahead and call him. Is that all right? I mean, go ahead and call him?
Yeah, old people problems.
And then again, maybe not.
Maybe he knew Danny was going to be waiting to ask some questions.
Ain't that something?
Hi, you reached Eddie Pardue. Please leave your name and number and I'll get back.
Oh, well.
It's your fault, Danny.
All we did is mention that you and him knew each other. Now he don't want to call. I don't understand.
Yeah.
So, this is a show about racing. So, what else we gonna talk about racing? Indianapolis getting ready to get fired up. I saw them.
And I guess nobody's going to be doing the double.
Nobody's doing the double this year. We get to this silent thing here.
Hey, I like Jason. He said he's surprised Jack didn't have one of them old Nokia brick phones.
Jason. Ho, Jason.
I know. I'm surprised he didn't flip it out or one of his big, like.
I have a brand new phone here, Jason. I heard enough about my old one, and then I got me a new one, and now you gonna start again? You all right with me?
Eddie said try again.
Eddie said try again.
Eddie, we trying. Again.
Hello.
Is this Eddie Pardue?
You got it right here.
Now, I'm just going to ask you a question real quick. This is Jack and Scott, and we when you heard the name Danny Millard, did you get scared and didn't want to talk to us?
That's exactly what it is. Yeah. Exactly.
Did he come around when you guys were over on Chip's team? Did Danny come around?
Yeah, he came down a little bit. I've known James for a long time.
Did he? Was he in the way?
You know him too, huh?
Yeah, we know him. You could say that. I'm trying to talk him to come down to Florence and run them champ carts. We've been running them champ carts for a while, and you know how Danny is, Danny and Davey anyway.
Oh yeah.
What was Davey's job on the team back then?
Man, that's been so long ago. I mean, it was a small team. It was about 4 or 5 of us. We kind of just did a little bit of everything, you know. I mean, it's, you know how small teams are. You got to do a little bit of everything.
Yeah. I mean, it was fun. I mean, you guys had a kind of a neat little team. Yeah, you had old Freddie Doyle. I seen Freddie not long ago. He's still big as ever. But I tell you what, as big as Freddie is, he was still pretty fast with a jack to be as big as he is.
Oh yeah, he's light on his feet for a big guy.
Yeah. I mean, we won that pit crew competition after y'all kind of quit running in '95, and Freddie was the jack man.
I can believe it. He's on it.
Yeah, for sure.
So Eddie, what are you up to this year, and how's everything going this year?
I'm still at TriStar Motorsports. It's going good. We downsized a little bit there. We had 4 teams last year, but we're down a little bit here. But I mean, everything's going good. You know, it's got J.J. Yaley in the 44 now. That's a little bit of a change there, but everything's going good.
So are you with J.J. or are you with the other car?
I'm with the other car, but J.J. ran a couple races with me in the 14, and they've had some change over there, so he's moved over to the 44. So we're just going through some changing right now, but everything's good.
As an Xfinity crew chief, give me your opinion on these. I mean, these heat races and everything that's going on. Give me your opinion on that.
I don't dislike the heat races. The race goes by really quick. The whole day goes by much quicker. It seems more like a Saturday night show, if that makes sense. It's like our normal races. There's usually long runs, and you can ride it out a little bit. You got time to work on your car. But the heat races, it's you might have one shot out of here at two if you're lucky, and so it goes by a lot quicker. So you got to be on your game, and it just feels like a short track race.
Yeah, to me, I think the guys that run up front, I mean, they're shooting for everything, but to me, it just seems like for some of the other guys in the race, it just kind of it's a problem that you have too much to lose if you lose the car or something in the race.
Yeah.
Especially for the heat race, there is lots to lose in the heat race. The guys are not real aggressive in the heat races, it appears, but it's. I like it. I think it's a good format. I think it's interesting. It's new. So I enjoyed it. It's just a different type of racing for us because it's a lot shorter, breaks it up. So I like it. I think it's big fun.
Do you guys get to change anything on the car in between the heat race and the race?
Yeah, basically the same things you can do like during a pit stop.
Okay.
It's not any major changes, but you can adjust wedge, track bar, some tackers in the front, adjust your shocks, your air pressure. And so you do have some things that you can still work on.
Well, did you tell old Nick Harrison he needs to make sure he fuels up the car too?
Yeah, it's tough to do. You expect everything to get done, and sometimes it doesn't happen the way you want it to, and everybody's in a rush sometimes. And it's a new process, new procedure, so just got missed there. Yeah, I hate that for them.
So what's the call for Charlotte? Y'all got everything ready for Charlotte, and what's it look like for you guys?
We're working on that right now as we speak. Like I say, we're probably about the same as we were last week. Probably have Jeff Green and Matt DiBenedetto and JJ Yaley there.
Now, you really got that Matt DiBenedetto, whatever
Guido.
Guido. We're going to call him Guido.
Yeah, that's it, Guido, yeah.
But he's an up-and-coming young driver and everything. It must be good to have him over there.
Oh, it is. He's just helping us out, but it's always good to have guys like that. He's doing great in that his cup ride, and that definitely doesn't hurt us. So we're glad he's there. How about Langley Speedway? That's what I want to hear about. What's the latest on Langley Speedway?
Man, there's really no news. I mean, it's just quiet. There's a gag order, so I mean, we've heard there's people come that's made some offers. The Perry group was interested, and that's kind of gone. And I mean, the last I heard, and it's probably going on 3 weeks ago, was that Bill and somebody else made one more offer, and hopefully they accepted it. But it's just kind of it's in limbo, and you say no news is good news, but it's still it's driving everybody crazy.
Yeah, it's getting late in the game, and it's quiet. You don't hear anything, so I hate that.
Yeah, I know, and I would think that whoever the landowner is that thinks if this thing goes much further, it's just going to diminish the value of the property.
Yeah, especially if we're keeping it a racetrack. If it's going to maintain, you got to get it back running. Operating.
Right. So I mean, if it goes another month or so, the racing this year is kind of going to be gone, and then I don't know. It's just going to diminish the value. So then, are you arguing over pennies, and then it's going to cost you dollars?
Yeah, that's a tough deal for sure.
Well, it's really sad. We thought we were going to have another racetrack open down here, but that doesn't seem to be working out too well either. So it's kind of bad around here right now with no racing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear a lot about that Dominion place. Sounds really nice. I'd like to get up there, but like I say, it's tough to do, but it sounds really nice.
It is. It's actually a really nice place. I mean, it's not done yet, but it's a beautiful facility. They still got a lot of work to do. And they've started out with a whole lot of controversy, especially the first race with the lights going out, and then the guy, Nick Smith, they thought he did win the race, and then looking back, they ran 101 or 102 laps, so then he didn't win. And then apparently this past weekend there was a couple DQs that they told him they weren't going to DQ him, and then in a release they said they did DQ him. So
Oh, geez.
yeah, so they weighed the car after the race and it was too light, and I'm like, well, you're supposed to be able to put some fuel in it, and they didn't allow that. So I don't. They were going off some percentages. I've never heard that before.
Yeah. That's tough. Like that. Maybe they get it together, and they got a great opportunity for sure with everything up there in Virginia.
Yeah, but then think about all the people like yourself that has come through Langley Speedway to go to the upper levels of NASCAR. I mean, it's kind of a sad thing for a lot of those people that built their career there.
Yeah,
No doubt. I mean, it really is. I mean, I moved to Charlotte in '93, and like I say, it's I haven't been back much, but it's always think about it and follow it and try to keep up with it.
Now, how did you just move down there and get a job, or did you have a job going down that way?
I had a job lined up. Like I said, it was a lot different back in '93 compared to what it is now. But Elton Sawyer had just started racing for a Busch team. It was Aiken Sutton Motorsports.
Right.
I had signed on with them and got on with them, and so I had a job when I came here. Yeah.
And it was surprised that team kind of went away, because they had some really good runs there those last 2 years before it kind of went away.
They did. They had a great little program. I wasn't there at the end, but they had a good program, and I think it just went through some changing and some kind of about like Langley Speedway. It just went through some changes and some issues, and they couldn't sort it out, and it went away.
Now, what kind of things has J.J. Yaley brought to your team? I mean, because, man, he's come in there and looked pretty good. And I know working with him, that's got to be a big pickup for y'all.
Yeah, J.J., his experience level is high. He's a Triple Crown champion. I mean that alone says enough. You know what I mean? His experience level brings his knowledge of the race cars. The dirt guys seem to have a great knack for moving around, finding grip, and that's what he does. So he actually helps us quite a bit. With our cars, with him, and his attitude, got a great attitude, good personality. So it's all around it's a good deal.
Eddie, do you which kind of driver do you like? Do you like somebody that really gets involved in the setup, or do you like somebody that just kind of gives you the information and lets you do what you want? And you think you should?
You like a little bit of both, if that makes sense. You want somebody to get you going in the right direction, but you don't want somebody that's just hounding over you. Just second guessing everything you have. So you kind of want a little bit of both. Like I say, you want somebody to figure out what you need and where to go, but you also don't want you to be hounded by it.
And how quick how quick does technology change for you guys? I mean, is that like a weekly basis?
I wouldn't call it a weekly basis, but it's constantly evolving. And things are changing fast for us. With the tire changes, that's hard to keep up with. It's just a challenge, when we go back to new places. Your setup that you ran last time at Dover might not be the same because the tires are different, so you're constantly improving on your bodies. And so your setups are always changing, but there's also other variables that are changing. So is it weekly? It kind of is, because the tires are changing weekly, so it's always evolving that way.
Well, Eddie, we appreciate your time tonight. We appreciate you spending a little time with it, even though Danny Millard, I know you're glad you did have to talk to him.
I appreciate it, guys.
Well, we appreciate it, and we'll get you back on here real soon, and good luck to you at Charlotte.
Yeah, we'll be in Charlotte, so we'll stop by and say hi.
Yeah, definitely come on by anytime.
All right, man. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. It's nice to see the local guys that's been here and moved forward and has been successful and is down there making a living in Charlotte and doing the American dream that everybody wants to do, to be in a professional sport, doing what we love to do. Look like our screen froze there. I guess it'll unfreeze in a second. There it goes. And we're back. But it is neat to see that.
All right, let's see if we can get a hold of David Reutimann.
Down in Sherald's Ford.
No, I thought he was in Florida.
I thought his shop was in Charlotte.
Maybe.
Big Bill.
Is this David?
Yes, David.
All right, how you doing? This is Jack Dodson and Scott Allen from Jack Dodson's Racing Insider News. How you doing down there tonight?
I'm doing good. How you guys doing?
We're doing great. Are you down there building some dirt cars tonight?
Yeah, we're actually trying to get my dad's new car finished up, which is we're probably about 2 weeks out from getting it done, and this is actually supposed to be his quote unquote retirement car. His words, not mine. But because he just turned 75, and we can only get about 4 years out of him, before we have to get him another one. So he thinks by the time he's pushing 80, he's gonna be ready to back it down a little bit. But we'll see how that works out.
I don't think that day's coming anytime soon.
No, you know what? I sure hope not. I mean, I wouldn't know what to do if my dad wasn't racing. I really wouldn't. It's been since I've been, obviously since I've been born, he's raced some way, shape, or form. And if he wasn't racing somewhere, I think the world quit spinning for a little while. I think.
Right. We had him on a couple of months back, and man, we had a good time listening to him and some of the stories, and he's funny.
He is. He's a funny guy, and he'll definitely when he gets going, when he gets on a roll, you'll have the show will be over with. When you guys won't have any time to talk about anything else.
Yeah, he kept us entertained that night.
Yeah.
So are you just building cars for him, or are you building for other people too?
No, that's what we build cars here. That's what we've been doing for probably about the last maybe 3 or 4 years. I've always built cars in some way, shape, or form. Just kind of our own personal stuff and things like that, or altered cars that we had and things like that. But now, since we've been not cup racing anymore, I didn't kind of too young to retire or too stupid to retire. I'm not sure exactly which one it is. And so I started building. Went back to what I knew how to do, which was build dirt cars, and that's been our business for the last couple of years. So it's going okay. Building cars and keeping me out of trouble, and actually building some pretty cool stuff.
Do you do any of the racing too? And last time we talked to him, you were supposed to be coming down there to race with him during speed weeks or something down that way.
Yeah, actually, I'm kind of on racing restriction right now because I don't have his car done yet.
Oh.
He won't let me race until I get his car done. So that's why we're hurrying up trying to get his car done so I can go. We can go ahead and start racing a little bit on our own and maybe have a little bit of fun. Get out of the shop every once in a while and have some fun.
Now, how often? Because I want to say that he was saying about every time y'all raced each other, he's won.
See, that's not true at all. That's not true at all. He's making that stuff up. Now, granted, he has outrun me a time or two. But not always, though.
Okay, well, I exaggerated that a little bit, but it was fun. How often do you guys get to race each other?
Really not that often because he's down in Florida. I'm obviously here up in North Carolina, and so we don't get a chance to race against each other all that often. Sometimes I'll run down there to Florida. Obviously, he doesn't come up here. I end up having to go down there. We'll race against each other sometimes. It's either up in Ocala, up at Raceway Park, or East Bay Raceway Park. Sometimes maybe Volusia, or Alltech Speedway there in Florida. There's a couple of really, really good dirt tracks that they have in Florida there, and they run the UMP type modifieds, and really enjoy racing those cars.
Mm-hmm. Now, what's it like racing against your dad? I mean, that's got to be. I mean, not just because your dad is Buzzy Reutimann, but just in general, just to be racing against your dad, it's got to be fun and gratifying because both of you are competitive.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I do know that if you let him outrun you, you hear about it for months on end. That's for sure. But no, it is. It's a lot of fun. I do enjoy it. It's kind of nerve-wracking, and obviously you race your dad a little different than you would race other people. But especially being as I'm the car owner of both cars, if I go down there and drive over and wreck him and wreck myself, then I got to pay for 2 cars to get fixed. So It doesn't really make a lot of financial sense. Of course, racing most times doesn't make financial sense anyway. But
that's true.
But it is. It's good. It's a cool deal. It's something that not a lot of people get to do. And he and I have raced together for off and on against each other for years. And but one of the last year, I think he actually ended up outrunning me. I ran second. He won, but we actually raced for the win. Side by side. I got up underneath him a couple times and. It was what you kind of dream about doing. If you're going to go out there and race against your dad, you dream about racing him for the win and being competitive and having a good time doing it. And that was something I'll always remember. It was a lot of fun.
Mm.
Now, have y'all ever gotten together and had to have a little discussion afterwards?
No. I mean, I think one of my first late model race I ever raced against him, I was driving another car for a guy, and obviously my dad was up front, and he was kind of I was kind of like the dog chasing the rabbit, or dog chasing the car. It's one of those deals where the dog chases the car, and then when he catches the car, he doesn't really know what to do with it. That's kind of how it was when I was racing my dad. I caught him in some traffic, and then when I got to him, I really didn't know what to do. So I kind of got in over my head, went down the corner, and run into him and spun him out. Needless to say, that wasn't the most pleasant ride home after that deal. But we've actually been able to race each other really hard, and very seldom do we tear anything up or get mad at each other. And at this point in the game, if we bang off each other, it's kind of funny because he's like I say, he's 75, and he just really don't care, to be honest with you.
So when you bang off each other, it really cost you for both of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. As a team owner, I'm able to, keep the tally of things, how much they cost during the course of the race. So if he goes in and drives out my door, I was like, well, there's a door and a quarter panel. So that's sheet of aluminum. That's giving me a new wrap on the left side, and maybe he might have hit me in the wheel and then the wheel too. So there's the wheel. So I mean, again, you tally all those things up, and you got to try to figure out if it's worth it or not.
Now I'm gonna ask you. I'm gonna back up a little bit and ask you a question. What was it like to drive for Darrell Waltrip?
Well, I mean, it was definitely interesting. I guess it would probably be one of the words I would use. DW is never a guy that's short on words or opinions. So, I did learn a lot driving for Darrell Waltrip. I think I probably learned more from him than I did, anybody, and certainly on the NASCAR side of things. He taught me a lot of things. A lot of things that he was still adamant and really believed in. It probably didn't necessarily apply in today's kind of racing, but a lot of the stuff he told me and talked to me about did, and it helped me. It helped my career, and then I'll always be grateful that Darrell Waltrip was one of the first guys that gave me an opportunity to go do something that I love to do, and it was a really a cool time or a cool night to be able to get that call home and it'd be Darrell Waltrip on the other end of the phone and him telling you that he wanted you to drive for his new truck team. That was there's certain things in life that you don't ever forget, and that's just one of them.
Now, he called you personally, and what was that like?
Well, at first, because I was actually working. I come to North Carolina. And I was actually working for Joe Nemechek over at Nemco Motorsports when he had his full-time nationwide team, or actually at that time with Busch Cars. And I was just working over there in the fab shop because I'd come up there to race some, and I was running some races for Joe that he couldn't make because he was cup racing and things like that. So I was working in the shop between those races, and just out of the blue, this phone rings, and a guy on the other end says it's Darrell Waltrip. Well, I just figured it was one of the guys at the shop. And Nemco Motorsports just giving messing around because they would say that over the loudspeaker at the shop. At Nemco, they'd come across the loudspeaker and say, David Reutimann, this is Rick Schippers is on line 1, or any number, Rick Hendricks on line 2. He wants to talk to you. So this kind of stuff will go on and on all the time. And so I just figured, I said, well, now these guys have taken it to the shop to now they've taken, instead of doing it at the shop, they're doing it at home now. And I was like, that's just below the belt. And so I just kind of hem-hawed around there a little bit. And I didn't want to act like I believed them because I didn't want them guys to think they got one over on me. And I flipped the caller ID over, which was on the back of the phone, and it said Waltrip on it. And I was like, oh gosh, dang. So it was an interesting know, he's like, I'm not bugging you, am I? I said, no, sir, you're not bothering me at all. I just couldn't hardly believe it was you. And he went on to tell me that, he kind of laid out the plan, what he had, and he said that, I was the guy that he wanted, and at that time I was in between things and didn't have anything lined up, and so the next day I went down to Concord, North Carolina to talk with the team manager at the time, which was Bobby Kennedy, and I got my first, basically got hired, and away we went.
And then you go drive for Michael. That had to be a complete different concept there.
Yeah, it was definitely. There's probably not two more different people that are related that I've ever met in my entire life. Obviously, Daryl was Daryl, and Michael is Michael, and they're both, pretty good guys, and definitely characters to be around, and so yeah, it's just like Daryl told me that when Daryl closed his truck team down, and I went over to Michael to run Michael's nationwide car. He told me that I wasn't being fired or laid off. I was just being sold from one Walter brother to the other. And so I just went over here and started driving for Michael, and spent a good number of years driving for Michael Waltrip, and then eventually Michael Waltrip Racing when he went Cup racing.
So what was it like to win your first Cup race? Then was that the 600 or the 500 that you won?
It was a Coke 600, and I look back on that race, and obviously it was my first win, but it was a rain shortened win. We were running, I think, about 11th or so, 10th or 11th at that time. Whenever the yellow came out for rain, it wasn't raining hard, but it was raining just enough. And we'd been fighting rain. Heck, I think it was a Monday when we were trying to run this race because we had so much rain, and it just one of those deals where my crew chief Rodney Childers. He just said, well, we're going to stay out here, and we're just going to gamble. So, so we stayed out, and everybody in front of me came in, and right away I said, man, we just made a really stupid move here, So we rode around, and it got rain a little harder. Next thing you know, they pulled us down pit road and stopped, and I never thought in a million years that they would call the race. But after sitting out there in the rain for, which seemed like an eternity, which actually was quite a long time, it was well over, I think, 2 hours.
Yeah, it was.
Before they finally, I was beginning to think, I was like, well, they definitely don't want me to win this race. But finally they gave in and called the race, and we had won it. So in the record books we won it, but in my heart I didn't really feel like. When you're thinking about winning your first Cup race, you don't think about. Well, I had a dream last night. It was awesome, and I won my first Cup race, but it was rain shortened, and I really didn't win it. That's kind of how I looked at it. But then later on, we were able to get a win at Chicago, and that race means more to me than the 600 just because we earned that race. We raced Jeff Gordon and Carl Edwards and those guys for the win, and they had a really great car, and we won the race. And so that race in particular is one that I'm most proud of, I think, as opposed to the 600. 600 is a big deal, a huge deal, but I never really felt like I earned that race.
And are you really being back on dirt? Is dirt where you really like to be? Everybody says they like being on dirt.
Yeah, you do see that a lot. I think in my younger years, all I wanted to do was get away from dirt. And then once I got away from dirt racing and wasn't able to do it as much, all I wanted to do was go back and do it. So I never really got too far away from the dirt tracks, but it got to the point where I could only race once or twice a year. Whether because I was Cup racing or because my contract restricted me from racing too much on the dirt and things like that. And, so yeah, the dirt is definitely more fun. Obviously, the Cup stuff seemed to pay a little bit better, but the dirt stuff was by far more fun and continues to be more fun.
Well, I hope it keeps being fun for you because it looks like your dad's going to drive for a little while, so you're going to be busy.
Yeah, you're going to need to make some more money.
Yeah, I'm definitely. He doesn't. I'm thoroughly convinced he doesn't know what the meaning of a budget is. We have to keep working away here. If the old man's going to keep racing, we have to work awful hard.
Well, that's kind of what he had indicated when we talked to him. Said his car owner would complain from time to time.
Yeah, my wife looks at the statements at the end of each month, and she's like, "Would you like to know how much your father spent this month?" I said, "No, I would not at all."
Yeah, it's better off not to know, for sure.
Yeah, you're right. there's certain things in life you're just better off not knowing.
That's right. Well, we appreciate your time tonight, and hopefully we can get you back on here again and talk to you a little more, because it's really been interesting to talk to you. We love talking to your dad. He was a lot of fun, so we appreciate your time.
Oh, yeah, see you guys. I appreciate having on, and anytime, just give us a call. You got the shop number. Next time I'll sell you guys a race car. I need some money. I got to pay for this.
All right, man. We'll talk about that.
All right, thank you.
All right, man. Thanks a lot.
So if anybody needs a dirt car, maybe we should have got Matt to talk to him. If you need a dirt car, hit up old David Reutimann.
How fun has it got to be? You know, we had him on the show.
I love Buzzy,
and
man.
talking about his car owner, and then now we got the car owner on here. We found out the real story.
Well, we knew what the real story was, but it was still a lot of fun talking to Buzz. And how was it when he answered the phone? Buzzy Reutimann.
Reutimann.
It was great. Yeah. Yeah, we get down to the end of this year. We got to get Buzzy back on.
Yeah, but I was going to think about asking Red Farmer back on, but I think I
got to study before we get Red back on.
We may have a problem here.
If we got to get up with that with Red, I got to get a hero card. He's got it right on there that. Oh Lord, and what's Danny? Eddie and them are talking on here. Scott Allen don't race with Dave, and I just follows us around the track. Come on, Danny. You can't take the outside like I can. And if Eddie knows you, he knows not to believe anything you say. Now we're going to go to another dirt legend.
Maybe not.
Hello?
Hello? Is this Joe?
It absolutely is.
How you doing? This is Jack and Scott here with the show. How's everything down your way?
Oh, I'm just pedaling along, waiting on a big offer from one of the big teams to come drive race cars.
You ain't found one of them yet?
No, I haven't got a good offer. I got to have a big contract and all that stuff. Big time stuff.
Well, we wanted to get you back on here, man, because you're one of my legends and one of my favorites. I've always been, I've always pulled for, and I tell you, I enjoyed the time I spent with you down at Clary's.
Yeah, we always cherish the time, when we get to talk to you and reminisce about the old days.
And we had some fun time talking about the old days down at Clary's, but I want you to tell us some more of them stories about the time you were driving around racing at all these crazy tracks up and down the East Coast.
Let me give you a little recap. Probably, we ran about 52 different racetracks. Actually, we ran 52 different racetracks. Managed to win races on 17 of those tracks. We even went to Halifax, Nova Scotia one time to race.
Oh, really?
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's one of those northern tours on that Grand American stuff the NASCAR put out for one time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it was interesting. It's very interesting. Tiny Lund was one of my best friends on that tour. I learned a lot from Tiny, and he's always there to help me out. I've known him all on Firestone, and he would always get the Goodyear guys to come over and check my tire temperatures, and he would come take the reading on the tires. So he knew, I'd never run a whole lot of asphalt, never run any asphalt, actually. And they kind of just knew everything about the stuff. He just helped me out immensely. We never had, we was always 100 horsepower short, $1 million short, plus all the other stuff. But we did have a good time. It was a great time.
Who all did you drive for back in the day? Now I know you drove for a lot of guys in the NASCAR that was in NASCAR. But who all did you drive for?
Now, the best, I tell you, I got a call one day. I was working in Richmond, and I got a call one day from Tommy Horn out of Fayetteville, Horn's Furniture. And Tommy asked me if I would come down and drive his race car. And he had a good race car. He had good engines, but he was only going to build 350. He about to go broke building big engines. It's dirt track. And so I said I certainly would. You know, at the time, I was just about out of a ride. I couldn't afford to do it myself. I'm just doing it hand to mouth, I guess you would say. And so I went down and talked to Tommy, and sure enough, we hooked up. We went down the first race for him. I went down to Somerville, South Carolina, and I think we finished about a 6. And after that, you know, the Tommy Horn's car was the car that was in the Six-Pack movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we had 2 cars in the Six-Pack movie. Earl Arnold drove the other car. I drove the main. I drove the main car, and Earl Arnold also drove for him. It was just a great relationship for a long time. We won 11 races for him. Run down at Barstow, South Carolina. Shucks. I got a finger moment there. I can't think about it. But anyway, we went around to some of the movies that they were showing, the Six-Pack movie.
Uh-huh.
Went around there and had a great time sitting around there and talking about the racing. A lot of people really were interested in that old car that we had, and it was a great car. But unfortunately, we kind of had a misunderstanding later on the next couple of years there, and one of the pit crew and stuff of that nature. And I quit, and maybe I should have stayed, but we just didn't see eye to eye. I'm only using a 350 running this 400 some cubic inch engine, and it's taken me a little bit longer to pass on. And we finished in the top 5 every race. Never finished below the 5th. But I still wasn't satisfied because I thought I should be winning a whole lot more races than I was winning. And I just felt like that I just needed a little bit more equipment, and I got disappointed a little bit. The second year I drove for them, I only won 3 races. And that was kind of a setback for me because I was used to winning just about every weekend. I win a race somewhere, and it got to the point to where I don't know. I just got to the point where I thought I should go and do my own thing again, which that was a bad mistake, but when you're doing your own thing, it's going to cost.
Yeah.
It doesn't take long to take a toll on your finances. So we went back to racing these local tracks, things of that nature. And I still had a good time. I had a great crew. Everybody volunteered to help me. Some of the guys have been helping me for 25, 30 years. And we had a great time. We called ourselves a good time racing because that's what we were doing. We were just racing to have a good time. And trying to maintain enough money for us to make a race every weekend. And that's what we wanted to do, and that's what we did.
Joe, you told me a story about the time you had somebody else's motor in your car.
Yeah.
Tell that story, because that was hilarious. I was trying to tell my dad that story. Tell us a little bit about that.
All right. I got 2 friends of mine, the competitors. Tom Clary's the engine builder, and Nathan Wright was the driver. They had a car together, and they were racing for the NASCAR championship in the region. And I was out of engines. I didn't have any way to get another engine to go. And they showed up at my shop. They came down to the shop on Hanson Street, and I said,
we want to give you an engine to run. If you don't have an engine, we want to give you an engine to run. I said, okay. I said, that's fine. He said, but look, the engine is right now. If you finish in front of us, we're going to protest you because the engine's not legal. So I said, well, that's fair enough. So here we go. And Monk Curry, and Monk passed away a couple of years ago, great fella. And Monk was the point leader. In order to win the championship or the regional championship, Nathan had to finish second. He didn't finish second. He was going to lose the championship. So here we go. And I'm running second. I'm staying there and I'm running second. And everything's going really good for me. And not so good for Nathan. He couldn't make it up to where I was. So, if he could ever make it to where I was, we were going to let him go and he could have won the championship. And a lot of people probably don't even know this. Maybe even his son maybe not. But that's the way it went. He lost by about 1 or 2 points, lost the championship because I was in front of him, but he had one car to get by me. He finished 4th, I finished 2nd, and Monk won the race. So it just worked out that Monk won the championship for the racing. But these guys are great. Look, Nathan and I'll tell you another story about Nathan. I'm jumping out my car. I'm leaving the race, and my car's jumping out of gear. Every time I go in the corner, my car jumps out of gear. So I'm having to hold on with one hand and try to drive with the other hand. And I come off the corner for the last lap. We're coming off the corner for the last lap, and I'm just hanging on as hard as I can go. And Nathan got into me and turned me around. And then I finished second, and Nathan won the race. Well, Monday at the shop, we go down the shop, and here comes Nathan and Tom. And let me tell you, it's hard to explain how people like this, you race with. They're sitting there, and they gave me the money between second and first. They gave me the money to make up for what I won and what they. So this is, it's just great people. When you're racing, it's almost impossible to imagine that people are any better than the race. Everybody in the race. I mean, everybody in the race. I know they've got things, that you might fight on Friday night that's going to be budgeted, on Saturday morning. But the racing from here is just, especially in the short track. That's what the Smith family ever did outside going.
It was some wild racing back in the day at Chantilly. I mean, that was a lot of fun for me. I remember going out there and you and Speck and was it Bud Elliott?
Bud and Nathan, so many of them are gone now. John Briggs. Oh shucks, there's so many of them that.
Joe, who was the guy that used to drive around the track with the cigar in his mouth all the time? Who was that?
That's my good friend. That's what they call Deacon Brown. Deacon Brown was the man with the cigar.
Right.
Now also not Speck used to like to smoke a cigar too. But Deacon was the man with the cigar. He was a really great friend of mine, and he still is. I'm putting off going to see him sometime, but you never get time to do that. But that was Deacon Brown.
And he was. They used to call him the Demon Deacon around at Chantilly, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And
yep.
He was a Mopar man. He always had Mopar.
Yep. I tell you, that was a lot of fun back in those days, and you and Speck and everybody had in your little run-ins that y'all had together. That had to be a lot of fun to do.
Oh yeah, we had we had Ashley Smith. Ashley Smith had the big Ford. He was a Ford man. Al Brennan came down and ran with us quite a bit. Al was really good on the dirt track. Church. We had a lot of guys that come down. Northampton. Did you ever go to the Southampton racetrack?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Before it was
the old.
Yeah, the old one.
Yeah, the one they had a figure 8 out there too.
Yeah, right. And that was down there on one of the country roads out there.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the problem with that track happened, Al Bennett and his crew were there, and one of the crew members had I think the little baby was 2 years old, and they were backing out of their pit stall or something like that out in the parking lot, and they ran over the child.
Oh.
That's just, and it killed the child, and it just, of course, it devastated everybody in the crew. And I think that was the demise of the racetrack.
Well, I tell you, that was a lot of fun to watch you race back in the day. And I'm going to keep calling you, and I'm going to keep getting you on this show because you've always been my favorite. And I'm going to get you on here as much as I can because I tell you what, I love hearing your stories.
I appreciate it, too. I'll tell you what, I'm so glad that you guys do these kind of things because, the young guys, they just don't, it's just hard for them to get any kind of coverage on what they do and how they do it.
Yeah.
So, always interesting. Everybody that talks to tonight have to just, you don't meet anybody more interesting than a racer. I can tell you that.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate your time. I'm going to let you get back to doing what you were doing. I'm going to call you again real soon, and hopefully I get to see you down at Clary's real soon.
Absolutely. They're going to run a race here, but it's been raining so bad here, we just get drenched. I stopped by the new track up at Exit 118.
Oh, yeah, uh-huh.
Yeah, it's a good looking racetrack, and I don't know how they're doing. I hope they're doing well. I don't know what he just started.
Well, they've had a couple little things that's gone wrong, but they're working on it. They're getting there.
It's a good looking racetrack. Looks like the seating capacity may be a little short, but
yeah,
I guess they can always add more seats if they need more people.
Yeah. Well, Joe,
I appreciate you. I appreciate you, Jack Scott. I just appreciate what y'all do.
Well, we appreciate it, and we love having you on, and I love talking to you. So I'll be talking to you again real soon, okay?
Yeah, I appreciate it, buddy.
All right, man. We'll talk to you later. Have a good night.
You too, everybody.
Oh, you hung up on Joe Huss.
I didn't mean to.
Joe? Look, Eddie and Danny and Dave, they're talking about building a car. I'm available if y'all need somebody.
I know Dan Hart ain't that crazy.
I know he says I'll drive. They had to put the window opening had to be humongous for Danny to get in.
All right, let's do our picks before we go off the air for the race this weekend at Charlotte for the All-Star race. Who's your? Well, I'm first.
Danny said he'll drive it, and then he said to the front. Eddie said that's funny. You'll have plenty of left side weight, Eddie, if Danny gets in there.
All right, my pick for this week is Carl Edwards.
Carl
Edwards.
He ran good last year there.
Yeah, my pick's Carl Edwards. It's on you now. All right, Clayton, be thinking.
I'm gonna go with Harvick. I'm gonna go out on a limb.
All right, Clayton's on you now. We're waiting on you.
Who wants to get in on who's gonna win the All-Star race? I gotta give a shout out to my buddy Rudy, my Jamaican friend. He said, "You guys are amazing. Good stories. Good friendship. Keep it up."
Wow.
He's the one who told me not let you be joking on me no more.
Look at him, man. Jeez. I don't have no choice but to joke on him.
Clayton's going with the 48.
That's probably a good choice, too.
Well, I don't know. There for a while, it was his house. Although if he could have got it in damn third gear, I'd have won this week.
Anyway, well, it was a good show tonight.
Pass right over that. Anyway.
Yeah, you'd have won. We ain't worried about that now. What's done is done.
Clayton's the winner.
Anyway, we appreciate
Eddie's going with Matt the Brat.
Now, Eddie, you can't just pick the guy who won last week.
You got to push the button before you can write.
Really?
Oh, Danny's going with the 10.
She got to get in the race first.
Now, Davey and Danny, you guys got to come to Florence and let's do some racing down there. You guys got to come in a couple of weeks on the 6th. Dave's going with Bad Brad.
That's a pretty good deal, too.
Oh, wait a minute. He says bad as he hates to, he's going to have to go with the 40. He said 48. Dave, load them carts up and let's go to Florence in a couple of weeks.
All right. Before we hang on,
you'll finish in the top 12, I'm sure, because that's all there'll be.
This dude gonna stay on. Dave's taking Junior.
Oh, he's gonna go with Junior. Well, damn, he said. Hate to say. Okay, all right.
You don't get but one pick, Clayton. That's it. No more, just one.
Yeah, you can't pick just. Yeah.
Can't
He'll be in the middle of the race talking about, hey, I'm changing my pick.
All right, before we go, next week we're going to have the modified winner at Bowman Gray with us, Chris Fleming. He'll be with us next week. So that's going to be
Chris Fleming for you guys, the showstopper.
And he'll be
there's not much more to say than that.
And he'll be fun to talk to, believe me.
If you don't know who Chris Fleming is, just look up Showstopper, Chris Fleming's, and once your ribs start hurting from laughing at him, just look forward to that when we have him on the show next week because he's hilarious.
He is hilarious. But anyway, that's the show for tonight. We'll see you next week, and then we'll be heading off to Charlotte. I have to go with him.
Right, it'll be fun. You won't.
At least this time I won't fall out of the bed.
You never know. I might push you just for it to happen. All right, guys.
Good night.